You don't need a large solo law firm to be able to replace your current lawyer W-2 salary. Let's talk about your first year hitting $250,000 or more. And I'm going to walk you through how to do it. We're talking about hitting 250 because we just did a video recently about making your first 100K. So now we're going to talk about 250K. It's usually the next big milestone for my law firm owners. We're talking about your clients, your systems, and your mindset, all the things that you need for a successful solo law firm. So I've been an attorney for 16 years and I've been on my own as a solo for the past about 9.5 years now. Not only do I run my own law firm, I also help lawyers who are looking to go solo or to grow their solo law firm and to manage their law firms. So 250K in 1 year for a solo is achievable and it's realistic. You certainly can do it. It's not going to be overnight. It's probably not going to be in your first year. There may be a few exceptions. Maybe there's a few unicorns out there who do hit the 250 in their first year. That's amazing. But I don't want to set you up for any kind of false expectations of hitting 250 in your first year. We're going to focus on hitting six figures your first year. I think year two is where we come to approaching and exceeding that 250K number. So let's break this down into simple math because 250K can just sound like a big number, a little overwhelming. So let's just break that down into number of clients, right? And so if your goal is to hit your 250K in 1 year, you divide that over 12 months, that's going to be $21,000-ish per month, right? If you are primarily flat fee like I am, you can think about kind of your average client case value, right? Especially if you're doing estate planning or real estate matters or criminal defense or, different practice areas where you're doing a flat fee where you kind of can estimate what your fee will be for a client. So if your average client fee is $3,500, you're going to need about 6 clients a month. And that feels doable, right? If your average client fee is $5,000, you only need 4-ish clients a month, a little over 4, like a 4.2 clients per month, right? Which is totally doable, more manageable, more digestible than thinking of this big number of hitting your 250K. This makes the goal feel more tangible. We're breaking it down into the number of clients that you need to be taking on every month in order to hit that 250. And when you think about it, if your average case value is 3,500, getting 6 clients a month, you could do more than that. Or if your average client fee is $5,000 a month, you could do 4 clients a month. You could do more than that, right? So let's keep going. Let's talk about the actual practice itself. So let's talk about picking the right practice area, okay? You're going to want to make sure that you're choosing areas that have strong demands, good margins on them. And so these can be things like family law, immigration, estate planning, business law, criminal defense, things like that. Now, for some of my solos, it can be very practice specific. Some of my clients have just the one practice area, like let's say family law. Like that is so big in and of itself. Maybe within family law, they specialize in certain aspects of family law. But if you have a practice area that can be market driven, and let's say, for instance, bankruptcy, you're going to want to make sure that you couple that with a more consistent practice area. And I can tell you this firsthand from my practice. So a big part of my practice pre-COVID was bankruptcy. I also did estate planning, probate, and real estate work, but bankruptcy was really kind of what I had been known for, and helping homeowners avoid foreclosure with bankruptcy specifically. In COVID, there were no bankruptcies being filed. Bankruptcy dried up, okay, because there were no foreclosures happening. Debt collectors weren't collecting. There were no collection lawsuits. There were, COVID funds being dispersed. So bankruptcy dried up. And I know quite a few, personally, I know quite a few bankruptcy attorneys who had to wrap up shop and end up going to work for somebody else, doing something totally different, because they had no revenue coming in, because there was just no bankruptcies. Even though they had been around for 10 years, 15 years doing bankruptcy work and had a good network and referral sources, there were just no bankruptcy cases being filed. And so for me and my practice, thank goodness I did estate planning and probate and real estate, because that's what really carried my firm. My estate planning practice skyrocketed through COVID, and still to this day now, even, being post COVID, estate planning is the biggest part of my practice that really blew up for me. And that's something that's going to be more consistent for you and not so market driven. So if you have a practice area, that one that you're really passionate about, you want to keep doing it. It doesn't mean don't do it. It just means you may want to consider integrating something that's not so market driven into your practice, for when the market has its dips, that you still have that revenue coming in to carry your business and cover your overhead. Okay. We also want to talk about, with your practice area, your pricing. Especially if you are newer to going, so you may feel this inclination to want to discount your fees and to charge less. You don't need to do so. And also keep in mind that you should be charging for the value you're providing to your clients and not just your time, especially if you've been practicing for 10, 15 years and deciding to go solo, right? You're going out on your own. Yeah, you're new to going solo, but you've been doing what you do for 10 to 15 years. You bring so much value to the table. Do not reduce the value of what you do because you feel like you're new to being a solo. You don't need to drop your prices significantly just because you're new to going out on your own. We did a video recently, I will make sure that's up here for you, about your pricing, about your fee structures, and ensuring that you are not undercharging. So make sure you check that out if you think you may be in that boat of undercharging for the services that you provide to your clients. Let's talk about your market and how you're going to get clients, okay? We talk a lot on this channel about building your network and building your referral sources, whether that's other lawyers, other professionals, your past clients, just continuing to grow your network. I've been doing this for 16 years now. I have a very strong network, a very strong referral base, and I am still actively engaging to grow my network. You never know what doors could be opened for you based on who you know. Some of the best opportunities I've ever had in my career came because I knew someone who knew someone, right? So you want to make sure that you are actively out there and growing your network. If you missed that video, I'm going to have that one here. A lot of these things we're talking about today, I have talked about. I'm just putting it all in one video for you today. So I'm going to be referencing videos that we've already done that kind of do a deeper dive into these various topics. I just want to kind of bring it all together under this one umbrella for you today, because for a lot of our solos who go out on their own, they're not sure what their earning potential is. They're worried about being able to replace their W-2 income from their prior firm, which I understand. I had those same fears, but you can do it, but you have to do the work. There's things that you need to do to be able to do so. So we're covering all that today, and I'm going to be referring you back to videos that we've kind of discussed these things in more detail for you to have, so you can show up in your firm how you need to show up to achieve your goals and to make your dreams of being a law firm owner, having the time, having the flexibility, having the income that you want. That's why you've gone solo, right? It really comes down to your time and your money. So we want to make sure you're hitting those goals, whatever those are for you. Okay. Also, in growing your market and getting new clients, you're going to want to use digital marketing, whatever that might look like for you. You're not going to want to do all the things. You cannot do all the things. I discourage you from trying to do all the things, okay? Trying to do Facebook and TikTok and Instagram and LinkedIn and your blog and make videos and have a podcast. You can't do all that. So you need to figure out what works for you. There are some things that you are going to want to do. You need to have a good website. That should probably go without saying, okay? Along those same lines, you want to make sure you're claiming your Google My Business profile. It's free to do. Google will verify you. Start to get a few reviews on there from clients or colleagues to help build your profile on your Google My Business page. And so you're showing up on maps and people can actually find you. Whatever social media you're going to do, pick one or two platforms, stick to those, be consistent. If you're trying to figure out what you should do, I'm going to encourage you to Well, it's going to be practice area specific. I was going to say I'm going to encourage you to do YouTube because so few lawyers want to do YouTube that it's really a way to set yourself apart from your competition. But for some of my law firm owners, Facebook is a great place for them to be, to show up, especially if you have like a more neighborhood type practice that, being local is really key for some practice areas. And so I have a number of clients who have great success with Facebook, and they double down on their efforts there and growing their online presence on Facebook. So figure out who your target audience is, where are they going when they need help, and have a question that you can help them with and to solve their legal issue, and that's where you need to go. Okay. And so when it comes to, some lawyers talk to me about doing SEO. SEO is a very expensive game. If you are a solo, you probably don't have the budget to compete with your mid-sized firms, your large-sized firms that have these huge ad budgets. So that's really expensive, and I am all about opening your law firm with low overhead. I have shared that many, many times on this channel and how I did so and how I encourage you to do so if you're going out on your own. So paying to play in SEO, I don't know that that's the best move for you. If you have the resources and the funds to be able to do so, great. When I went out on my own, I did not. So that's not how I built my law firm. That's not how I grew my law firm. Also, we talked before about having a niche and having something that you're known for and being the go-to for in your practice area. And even more than a practice area, it should be more specific than that. Like I mentioned earlier, I did a lot of bankruptcy work, but my niche was not bankruptcy. My niche was more helping homeowners avoid foreclosure. And I did that with bankruptcy, with Chapter 13 bankruptcies. The homeowners had to be employed, there had to be a feasible plan to be able to afford the mortgage and cure it and stop the foreclosure. But figure out kind of, what do you want to be known for? What do you want to go out there and tell people that you do? What is the problem that you solve? All right. Let's talk about internally in your firm, what you're going to do with client acquisition. You need to track your leads. You need to figure out how the potential client found you. When someone calls your office for a consultation, or they email, or they text, you need to be asking, how did you hear of us? You need to know where they're coming from. If they're referred, by someone to you, make sure you send a thank you to that referral source. If they found you on Avo, if they found you on the FindLaw directory, if they found you in a social media group, like, you need to find out where people are finding you so you can figure out, okay, where do I need to double down my efforts? Where should I spend more of my time for marketing? You're only going to find that out if you ask people how they found you. So we're going to track our leads, do our consultations, get those consultations converted into actually paying clients. Your job as a solo is to get people in the door. Your job is to make the sale. Okay, that is your primary goal when you go out on your own. So we want to make sure that we are focusing our efforts on how to get people in the door and how to convert them into paying clients. Those are your top two focuses as a solo law firm owner. All right, some more on the internal side of things as far as your systems and efficiency, because probably one reason why you went out on your own, or you want to go out on your own, is to get some of your time back, right? So let's talk about, automating your intake, your scheduling, collecting payments. Now, I have done a number of videos about this, specifically about my intake process at my firm. So I'm going to link that here, because we kind of did a deep dive there about how I do intake at my firm, how I convert what would be a cold lead into a hot lead. So if you need help with your intake, if you are not converting your consults into paid clients at the consultation, the person should be ready to go at the consultation. If they reached out to you about this issue that they have, they already need your help. So you should be able to convert that into a paying client. And so if you need help with that, make sure you're following that video that I've linked up there for you, okay? There's a lot of things you can do in your intake process to really streamline that and take yourself out of it. With the online calendar, people can self-schedule, they can pay your consultation fee if you have one, right? It's automatically emailing them their confirmations, their reminders, all those things that take time out of your day to do. You can have some pretty easy to use tech do that for you. So make sure you check out that video that I referenced if you need help with that intake process at your law firm. Let's talk about case management software. I have used a number of different case management softwares. I have my case right now, and I've been using that for about 2 years, I think, and I'm happy with it. It's good. I've also used Clio. I have used Practice Panther. I've used Smokeball. You know, Smokeball for me in my practice was just way more than what I needed. It was a little spendy also, but I think if you actually used all of its features, it's worth it. I just did not have a need to use all of the features that it offered. It was overkill for me. But if you have a litigation practice or a PI practice, I think that could be very valuable. All that it can do, it just wasn't the right fit for me. Before that, I had Practice Panther, which I really liked, and I had it for a number of years. And then just the tech support and customer service really took a decline and really went downhill. And I was just very unhappy with the service I was receiving, which made me go to Smokeball. And then I left Smokeball because it was just too much for me to My Case. I think My Case and Clio are pretty compatible in my experience. I think they have pretty comparable features, pretty comparable pricing. So if you are, but I'm always like, I'm not married to My Case. Like, we are not in a committed relationship. So if there's a practice management software that you are looking into or that you're using that's not one of those, like, let me know in the comments below so I can look into it for myself and for my clients. I would love to kind of look into, there's always something new coming out. The great thing about technology, there's always something new and improved. So if you have some other ideas or thoughts about practice management software, like, please share it in the comments so that I can know, my law firm owners can know, my clients, so others who are also going out on their own can know as well. So please share it below so we can all kind of help each other out there. So let's see. Let's continue on with the internal side of your firm. You are going to need to delegate non-legal work. You may not need to yet. It may just be you only. You may not have revenue yet to be able to bring on help. But you're going to have to do so at some point, like a virtual assistant, a bookkeeper. My very first hire in my law firm was my CPA. Year one, I did everything myself. I did my books myself. Now, I have shared this. I didn't even use QuickBooks. I literally had a Word document that showed what I earned and what my expenses were. I had no staff. I didn't have much overhead. So it was simple enough. I did have a CPA who did my taxes for me that first year. My personal CPA did my business taxes for me. I didn't do that myself. But very quickly, after my CPA, I ended up hiring a part-time legal assistant because it got pretty busy. And then with that, I also hired a bookkeeper to manage not just my books, but also like all the payroll stuff. It was not worth my time to try and figure it out. That's one of those things that just was not the highest and best use of my time to try and navigate how to do those things. I outsourced those as soon as I could. So for your time, make sure you're focusing on high value tasks. When you first start, you're going to be doing it all. But as you start to earn consistent revenue in the firm, we need to start to outsource things that aren't, again, the best and highest use of your time. Now let's talk about you as a law firm owner. You need to treat your law firm like a business. It's not just the practice of law. I don't care how great of a lawyer you are. If you are not running your law firm like it's a business, if you're not wearing your business owner hat first, your law firm is going to suffer. Your growth will be slow. Also, we touched on this already, but don't be afraid to raise your rates as demand grows and as your costs increase. Every year, it costs me more and more to run my law firm. Too many times lawyers will keep their fees the same despite their rent increasing, software pricing increasing, giving their staff raises. Like, you should be increasing your fees because your expenses to run your business have increased as well. And so when you get to the point when you need to hire, you're going to be looking at maybe virtual support or part-time support or using AI and technology. Like, you have so many options to help you in the growth of your law firm and to help you with the admin work so you can focus again on bringing revenue into your firm. Because again, this is a business first. It's a business that is engaged in the practice of law, but it's a business first, and your job is to get people in the door and convert them into paying clients. So let's talk about the timeline of being able to earn $250K a year. I think year 2 is when you can really start working towards that goal. Now, again, there could be some of you who do it at year 1. That is amazing. I want the best for all of you who want to go out on your own and open your own law firms. If you can earn that $250 in your first year, hats off to you. Cheers to you. That is amazing. But for most everyone else, we're looking at probably year 2 to be working towards that goal. I think year 1, you can hit 6 figures. You can hit 6 figures in year 1. And again, we went over that in the 6-figure video about the 100K. But for 250, I think we're looking at probably year 2. You're going to want to make sure you're being consistent in your marketing and your pricing and efficiency so we can have predictable growth in your law firm. All right, that was a lot. I just went over a whole lot of things. All to tell you that you can do it. I've done it. Many, many law firm owners have done it. I have many clients who have done it. You can do it too. So if you're ready to hit your first $250K a year, if you're not quite there yet, again, break it down into how many clients you need per month, per week. How many consults do you need to be having? Because what is your conversion rate? Out of your consults, how many of them are becoming actually paid clients? You're just going to reverse engineer whatever your money goal is and break it down into number of clients that you need to be hiring you, how many consults you need to have so you can hit those goals and make them more manageable in your mind, more achievable, not so overwhelming, not so just vague and out there. You actually have concrete numbers of what you need and what your targets should be, okay? If you have the consults coming in, but you're not converting them into sales at the end of the consultation, you've got some work to do on your sales, right? You need to improve that process and what you're doing. And we talk a lot about that on this channel on how to do so. So make sure you're going through the content, the videos that I've been making for you about how to do so. All right, that wraps us up. Make sure you push all the buttons. You know what to do. And if you want help building a law firm of your dreams, make sure you stick around, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.